Well, I've learned on a 2x6, especially the tongue and groove on the second floor, you have to put it down. You cannot grade pick it, or you're never going to have enough. And I mean, you can cut around all the boards you want, but then you got 4-foot pieces. So we put it in, put it down, and leave it. And I mean, they know they got to do a finish sanding on it in the end anyway. So.
Yeah.
But the 1x6 yellow pine car siding, that's probably some of your best product right now. And I've been telling people that I have no idea what you're charging per board foot, but with the price of drywall, by the time you buy the drywall, you install the drywall, you tape it, mud it, hang it, and paint it. Paint is $50 to $75 a gallon right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you install tongue and groove, I can do a tongue and groove walls and ceilings in a matter of 2 or 3 days, and I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
You come back and do a light sanding and a poly, I guarantee you I'm cheaper than what it is to do drywall. That's why the next customer, they want to do, she goes, well, I really want to do white. I'm like, whitewash the tongue and groove.
Right.
And then you've got a contrast. Now you have the best of both worlds. You get the wood, durability. You don't have to come back and paint it. If somebody knocks a chair into your wall and it puts a hole in your drywall, you have to patch it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do tongue and groove, you're never going to take it up. So
Right.
it's really, really good.
Yeah. With us today, we have Darrel Bosse, who Darrel has been building homes for Gastineau Log Homes and in other companies for 17, 20 years, something like that, Darrel. And we're going to talk today about his advice to customers of the things that they need to think about and plan about before they start construction. We're going to talk about some of the experiences he's had in building log homes and his thoughts about the way that Gastineau builds houses, and also how he thinks that people should think about their budgeting process, and just a lot of different things about building a log home.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Mm-hmm.
Excited about it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Lacey.
And I'm Darrel.
Welcome to the Acorn Leaf Podcast. Welcome, Darrel. So glad to have you here.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. We have known each other for a very long time, haven't we?
We were talking this morning. It's like I started in the estuary in 81. And at that time, you guys had just founded in what, 77?
77. Yep, so, 77.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. We used to see each other at home shows and
trade shows all over the United States. We did that for years. And then I looked at the calendar I actually asked my wife because my calendar just doesn't remember that far back. But Sue said we've been with you guys 17 years now.
17 years. Yeah. They've been building houses all around, mostly in Missouri. You've done a couple, I think, outside.
We started out as a novice builder and you sent us to Oklahoma. And I can never forgive you for that. So it was a good travel. But it was a remarkable house. And you learn every house you do.
Yeah.
So, and now we're pretty well in Missouri. We've been, lucky and fortunate enough to keep within an hour, 2-hour drive of where we're staying. Anything within an hour, we travel. Anything over an hour, we stay on the site. Got some campers and trailers, and we pull in and live on your job site. So it's really good.
We do our best to keep you booked from one job to the next.
It's that way right now because I met with a potential client, visited a job site Saturday morning. And their schedule is going to be next spring build.
Okay.
So I'm booked up with 7 gables right now. I got a small project, 22 by 30 in Osceola, Missouri. After that for about 5 weeks. And then we're going down to Dixon, Missouri for a project for Matt Helton. And that's a 5-month build. He's got
it's a big house.
Yeah. He's got a 36 by 36 garage frame with smart match that's bigger than some of my projects.
Yes.
So it's a good build.
Yeah.
Real good build.
Yeah. That's going to be a pretty house.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Darrel, what's some of the advice you would give to a client who's wanting to build a log home and is wanting to talk to a builder? What kind of advice would you give them as far as what they need to be prepared and what are the things they should think about?
I think number one is to have an open mind. You've got to look at the property. To me, the property dictates the style of the house. If it's going to be on a walkout basement, if it's going to be on a crawl space, it's going to be on a concrete slab. There is no level lots in Missouri to build on. So concrete slabs are very, very few that we see. The crawl space is typically somewhat of a grade, but look at your property. Go out there and look at it when it rains. We've been so fortunate this spring. We've got rain every week. Visit the job site, see where the low spots are, see where the water is on the property. Determine that by where you're wanting to build at. Once you obtain that, check with the county. Find out if there's building codes, because you've got mandated counties around St. Louis and around Kansas City and other certain areas that you have to comply with the building codes. You don't want to jump into this and find out the HOA association that you're wanting to build in this beautiful subdivision doesn't partake of the type of home you're wanting to build.
True.
Find out what you are, and then talk to your salesmen, talk to your people that are here at Gastineau, because they will lead you in the right direction. You guys have got an extensive staff of people that will lead the customer in the right direction. So take that upon yourself, meet with the customers, come visit the Model Home Center, get a feel for the product of what you're buying. We offer references, and you guys do the same thing. You want to become comfortable with the product that you're building and the builder that you're using to build your house. I've heard so many horror stories over the years of incompetent builders that just have no clue. They don't know what they're doing. They're trying to lead you in the wrong direction. So,
right. I think that's true in all types of construction, and not just the log home industry. You hear of issues everywhere, but I always tell people, be sure, go to see a home that a builder has built.
Right.
So that you can see the type of work that they do. Because very honestly, some people expect different levels of quality.
Right.
And so you should see, and you should go visit the home and see if you're happy with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think there's in building, preparation is everything, including this step. And I feel like this step, as far as a customer goes, they get when they're looking to build, they skip the step of kind of background check or background work on a builder. Because I promise you, if something goes south, you're spending so much more time dealing with that than if you did the work up front.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Because if you're relying, as I tell people, I said, we're more than a builder. I said, we're part of the family. Because when you step in with us, we're going to be there every time. We're there every week. We do one house at a time. We take that into consideration when we're actually looking to the customer, because you're building a form of confidence with them and a rapport that has got to last beyond just the building of the house. You're going to be back staining it, cleaning it, doing whatever needs to be done. Adjustments, just will call. And I've got listings of people that can talk to our homeowners that are presently in their homes. That is the best reference you can have.
Right.
If you give somebody a name and say, call these people, and I just give them the name, I tell the customer they're calling, that's it. Then they're on their own to meet with the customer, meet with the potential customer. And then it's a good relationship from there on. So, yeah. I
would say it's like a three-legged stool. You have the customer, you have us, and you have the builder. And it takes all three in order to have a successful project. And we really have to work together, in order to do it. And it's just that simple.
Right.
It just really is that simple. One of the things that I think people sometimes will think they need to talk to the builder, in my opinion, ahead of too early in the process.
Right.
So what, as a builder, for you to really to be able to advise a customer, what kind of documentation or information do you need?
You have to have a floor plan to begin with of what you're looking to do. If you come to us and we have no idea of what you're looking for, we can't give you a price, or at least give you an idea of what your budget might be. So at least if you've picked out the floor plan, the 7 gables, the songbird, whatever it may be, now you at least have a basis to start with. That way, once you get to the job site, you're aware of what your preliminary budget is. Now we can look at the road going in, we can look at the job site, we can look at the availability to get into the job site. Because some of these people have no idea that a road could cost $25,000 to get across your half-acre field and up to the hillside. And then at the same time, looking at septics. I mean, you've got to that all has to be part of the budget of what you're doing. So we try and lay that out ahead of time with them, but they need to have at least some kind of an idea of what they're wanting to build, and have got to your office, talk to the people, like I said, and have a good understanding of what it's going to take to do the project.
Right.
So, yeah.
Tell us some stories of things that you've encountered during construction that, or experiences that you've had that you could help people avoid those types of situations.
I'd say the number one thing is with people when they first have their foundation put in, and then we come out with a subfloor like, this is so small. Oh, yeah. And it's like,
yes.
You have no idea until we start laying walls. And then it's like, well, this is not what I wanted. And I'm like, okay. So we go through the whole building process with them, explaining that this is what you want. This is what we have. This will be your dream home. You've been in a home before, but this is, it is a small reality of what you're getting. So you set the walls, then you get up to the point, and then they're like, well, I want to change this. I'm like, you don't understand. You have got a plan that has been put together by TJ, the designer, so that the plumbing works, so that the heating and cooling works, and so that the electrical works. You can't just start changing at the final point. I said, we snap lines on the floor. We lay out the entire house. We ask you to do a walkthrough with us. And every week we do a walkthrough because we're a different type of builder. I'm a builder general contractor, but in the sense I am a builder that looks out for you as a homeowner, because we don't charge general contracting fees. We have a builder ourselves. I have electricians, plumbers, heating, cooling, and foundation people. We all coordinate this together to make your dream come true. And then we snap lines, we build the walls, and then it all works according to plumbing, because there's a way this has to go together. You got settling gaps, and they don't understand that. They're like, there's a huge gap in my wall. And you're like, yeah, it's going to be covered. Don't worry.
On purpose.
Now, Darrel, I will say, we do point these things out to people when they visit.
I know, but
they've forgotten. They've forgotten.
Well, when they walk through the beautiful Seven Gables display home, they don't see the small, intricate things. They forget about that.
Well, we show them in the Hideaway or the Caroline. That's
Right.
why we left that open, so that we can show people things. But they don't remember, because sometimes from the time they saw it to the time they build, maybe 6 months, a year, and they've completely forgotten those things.
Right. And then they look at the gap, the settling gap over the windows, and they're like, what are we going to do with that? So you go through the whole process with them.
There's a lot to remember.
The regrettable thing about a lot of the customers is they want to do some of the helping themselves. And I've got a point in case in one house we did over by Jeff City, and Paul was like, oh, I'm going to do all the caulking and all the staining myself. I'm like, great. I'll take that off, deduct it off the bid. You can do it. Halfway through the project, he's done caulking for 4 weekends. And then he's trying to do staining. And we have lifts, we have ladders, we have pump jacks, all the equipment to do it. He's like, well, how am I going to get up there? I'm just like, they don't have a clue until they undertake the project themselves. And right now I've got the next 2 projects, the homeowners are finishing the inside themselves. And I know we'll get calls, and that's fine. I understand it. But hire somebody that is a professional that's done it every day. Do what you can do. Do the cleanup, do the painting, staining on the inside. But by far, hire a professional to do the work for you. You're going to save money in the end. So.
Yeah, that is true. And I always tell people the comment you made about the foundations look so small. I tell every person, I say to warn them, don't freak out whenever you see the foundation. It is going to look tiny.
Right.
I did it myself. And my house is pretty big. And I remember walking around the basement going, this looks so small. And, and it just, the house grows. And you really don't have a feel for the true size of the house until the partition wall covering gets put on.
Right.
And you actually have walls. And it's because the visual, you can see through things, so it distorts the perception of size.
Exactly.
So there's a logical reason for it, but everybody feels that way.
And to your point too about making changes. I mean, certainly there can be and safely make changes during construction, because you can't think of everything prior to, but there's so much, again, preparation, so much really paying attention to your plans as you're going through the prelim process, making sure that you do. I mean, again, there are a lot of things to look at, but think through where those walls are. Think through, like, if you walk into this room and you've got, this is your closet location, and because changing those things later, to your point, is hard because it's not just changing a wall, right? There's other things tied to it.
There's going to be that arise in every home. But I mean, it's the same way with window and door placements. You guys have this all laid out. It's got to be some of the best blueprints I've worked with, in the last trade years. It's just, you guys nail everything down to the T. The gable ends, the 7 gables to me is phenomenal, coming up with the arched windows and the transoms and the gable. And I'm wake up in the middle of the night thinking of how we're going to do it. But it is, I call it's a 3 a.m. thought. You have that intention of doing a quality job, but it's just not on your day as a work. It's all the through process to get to that final point to make it work. So, but I'm excited about it. It's a challenge. All the homes are a challenge, but everyone is individual. And that's what I love about the business. You guys set us up with customers. Nobody is doing a cookie cutter house in this work. Everyone is custom, and it reflects that in the homeowner's dream of having a log home come true for them. And we're excited for it.
I'm really jealous of you because you get to actually see every job site, see all the job sites and experience everything. I don't get to see the houses during construction or after construction. We get pictures sometimes, right? But that's all we get. I get really jealous because you get to because I know people build these in some of the coolest locations, and the prettiest views and different things. So I don't know if I told you that's my dream whenever I retire, as I'm gonna travel around and see all these houses we built.
The Jeffrey Topes home up by Marthasville, that's the one I sent the latest pictures of, that we went up there and visited him, and we were staying for him. And it's a beautiful home. It's got the prow on it. Is that the Carolina?
Yeah, Carolina.
I love it. And he put that screen porch on the back and the view, because it's your typical hillside. It's got a 4-foot walkout basement below the walkout basement.
Yeah.
And then the deck, and then it's just beautiful. But it's on 4 acres, and it just has the view is just incredible. Plus the prow has turned out gorgeous.
Yeah.
We're very, very happy with that house.
Yeah. Yeah. I like you said there's no flat ground to do a slab in Missouri. The only place is where our model home center is. That is the flattest part of Missouri.
I agree with that, right on I-70.
Yeah. It is flat there.
Yeah. It is a beautiful spot.
It is actually easier, I think, to build on a slope than it is to build on flat ground.
Right.
Because you can't, on flat ground, you can't, especially our property up there won't perk. And so water sits there. It doesn't run off. Right. And it's harder, actually.
Well, you've got to berm everything up so that your water drainage is a possibility, because if not, you're going to have, and that's why the last home we just did, I had my foundation guy put in a hole in the floor for a sump pump station in every house we build. And he's like, what is the hole in the floor? I'm like, you're going to have problems if you don't have the access to put a sump pump in, because with the clay and the plastic soil we have, it's necessary. You've got to have that in every house. But we look out for the small things in the homeowner that they have no clue with, because most of these people love to want to have that experience of building, but they have no clue of the right way of doing it. So we're there to help them with it. But that's what's good.
Most people have not gone through the actual process of building a custom home. They may have bought a home in a subdivision where they got to pick out the colors and the carpet and the cabinets or something. And they think they built a house, but actually, that was just the finishing. So they've not gone through this process where you're envisioning it from beginning to end. When you're picking out a raw piece of ground, and you've got to put in infrastructure, and you've got, then build the house. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. I was just at that job site on Saturday, and we're looking at the slope of the ground, and there's at least a 5 to 6 foot grade. I mean, you can see it looking and visualizing the side, and he goes, "Oh, it's pretty level." And I'm like, "No." I said, he goes, "Well, I don't want to have a walkout basement." And I said, "Well, then we're going to have to really move the site." And we did. We relocated the place to a little bit more level, but he's got 26 acres. So you can find within another 100 feet an area that has that potential levelness, as we call it, because it's not level, it's levelness, but it's close so that you can at least get not as much walkout basement, or just have a, bermed up hillside. So
what is your favorite part of the build, the whole process? What's your favorite part?
Setting the logs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the log set. I mean, and you guys have given us now the opportunity to see the dovetail system, which I really, really like, but the saddle notch is my favorite. You cannot get a better quality, tight fit. We have to drive the logs together. We have a 1.5 pound wooden head made out of a hedge piece of log on a fiberglass handle. And you have to literally drive the saddle notch together. It's that tight. And when you get that set and then you level it both directions, left and right on the corner, it's impermeable. In the settling of any oak log, take an 8x8 oak, and when it dries, it's going to twist. Mm-hmm. It's going to move. That's just inevitability of the nature. Wood.
Right.
But with a dovetail, it's not going anywhere. You have securely locked it together. Then you put the bonding agent between it, through the roof. I've never seen a caulking that sticks like that stuff. Mm-hmm. You can put it together without screws and you cannot tear it apart. Mm-hmm. But I love the logs because the character of the wood, we were just discussing this in Home to Go, the character of the oak, whether it's white oak or black oak, and the character of the knots, it's beautiful. And then when you get to the point of finishing it and you see all that grain pop out, it's beautiful. I love roofing systems, but the oak is by far the one.
I think that's one of the reasons why a log home will perform so well, like in natural disasters, is because of the corners.
Yes.
Even a button pass corner, you compare it to frame construction, and it is so much stronger. And just the walls are tied together better. And we all get tied up in how the finishes are of a house and all the gingerbread, I call it, of a home. But the true purpose of your home is shelter.
Right.
It's to protect your family. When you go to bed at night, you want to know that your kids are safe.
Right.
And having a home that is going to withstand a tornado or hurricanes, even all the different calamities that Mother Nature throws at us. That it's really, I think, is really peace of mind.
Yeah. Well, if you look at a conventional house built with a TGI glulam timber frame beam down the center, and then you got 2x10 joist on 16-inch centers. Now go to the Oak Log Home by Gastineau. It's got a 6x11 oak carrying beam, 8x8 oak post with 6x8 oak timber frame joist, bolted and lag screwed into steel hangers on each end with 6x10 end notches. It's not going anywhere.
No.
It's all tied together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, one thing, we certainly do not under-engineer anything, do we?
No. And then you got to figure out how to get the 6x11 ridge beam on top of the 8x8 post 12 feet in the air. And then not only that, now let's stick another 2x12 ridge beam on top of that. Yeah. And then we'll set stick-built rafters. Our rafters are 2x12s on 2-foot centers, covered with 5/8 sheeting. The roofs today are made out of 2x4 trusses with 1/2-inch sheeting. We're overbuilding everything you guys do. Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah.
It's very well built home. It's by far structural because I've seen other log home companies. Your complete kit is structurally sound and it's not going anywhere. We had a tornado go through the last house we were working up by Tower Hill. And within a quarter of a mile, it took out a house, took out trees. We had just framed the roof. That was the day you were talking to us about you're putting a roof on today at 40-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah. And that night, the winds blew through, but we had everything cross-braced, and it was the fact that the oak beam and timber frame held up everything. Yeah, we're crazy people and builders. We are. So. It's all good.
And we'll be right back. I know. We get it. You've been sitting there, driving your car. Maybe you're running on a jog on a beautiful morning, listening to this podcast and thinking about building your log home. So we made it easy for you. Start your journey with us here at Gastineau Log Homes. Family owned, women led, and proudly crafting oak log homes since 1977. As the largest oak log home manufacturer in America, we're here to help bring your dream, big or small, to life. You can call our office at 573-896-5122 or swing by the National Model Home Center here in Kingdom City, Missouri, or even visit us online at oakloghome.com to get started, because your dreams never look so good. While you're listening to this podcast, did you find yourself loving or imagining the smell of sawdust or the thrill of closing a deal? Well, good, because we're hiring. From the mill to sales to design to even shipping, there's a place for you at Gastineau Log Homes. You can apply today at oakloghome.com/careers. If you've been enjoying the Acorn Leaf Podcast, do us a quick favor. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps more folks who love log home living find us and join the conversation, which is such an awesome community. And hey, if you love what we do here at Gastineau Log Homes, head over to Google and leave us a review there as well. It means the world to us and keeps the dream growing. Thanks for listening and for being part of the Gastineau family. Back to the show.
You gave it some pointers earlier about what a customer should do prior to talking to you or any builder. What other thing? I mean, any other tips that you would give a customer to say what do they want to know or what do they need to know before they try to talk to different builders and try to select their builder?
Number one, have your idea of your floor plan, and then view this builder as your number one best friend. You have to have the utmost faith in him. When you're dealing with a builder, you're putting the biggest investment of your lifetime in this boy's hands. I mean, have the faith, get the reputation out of the table, explain to him what you're wanting. We are looking for this in a house. We're looking for this in cabinets. We're looking for this in a bathroom. We're looking for this in tile. We're looking for this in floor. And if he comes back and says, well, you really don't want that, well, you may not really want that builder because this is your dream. You need to come forward with him and say, this is how I would like it done. This is what we want. If you cannot take that upon yourself, you may want to look to another builder. And by all means, get your prices worked out. Get your budget set aside. Let that builder come back to you now. He knows what the Gastineau Log Home price is. Let him come back to you with a labor bid. Don't discuss final price. Let him come back to you with a budgetary price. Another big mistake is telling people you got $400,000 to spend on the house and the builder comes back with a $401,000 price tag. Let him dictate his labor according to that project. Then come back and ask for a dry shell price and a finished price because the dry shell gets the house under roof. Then you have the ability to change the inside. But whatever you do, don't put a huge amount of money down with a builder up front. If they cannot work on an upfront, straightforward project and tell you what the cost is going to be, let them get that price to you. Then maybe put down $1,000 retainer to get in line. Then 90 days out from the project, put another small deposit down with them. But do not go out there and spend thousands and tens of thousands of dollars with somebody that you don't know that just wants money up front. So, and get reputations and get references. That's our big thing. We have a list of half a dozen different homes we're doing. We invite every customer to come to the project we're building right now. That way they can see up front the quality of your work. How clean is the job site?
Right. Yes.
You do not
a clean job site is so important. I think it's overlooked so often, but a clean job site speaks volumes.
Right. I mean, we pick up every week, and at the end of the week, we have a one-on-one conference with the homeowner so that you feel comfortable about what you're doing because your builder is an extension of your work. And if you show up and it's a trashed out job site with beer cans laying all over the place, you may want to think a little differently about what you're doing. So,
right.
Not saying we don't all have a drink in the evening. That's not our case. But at the same time, you want to be able to have trust.
Try to find a trash can, you know?
Exactly.
I think, and you bring up budget. I think, there's always that push-pull with customers and our team and builders with putting that budget out there, because on one hand, if we collectively, meaning builders and within Gastineau, if we don't know a general idea of what you want to spend, we can't really design a house for you, right? Or what we design could be way off from what you can or can't build. So it's important to have at least some parameters there. But also, you don't want to lay all your cards out on the table. But also, the important part is, people always want to know, well, what's it going to cost to build this 1,800 square foot house on a slab? I have no idea, because I don't know. Do you want to spend $2,500 on your appliances or $10,000 on your appliances?
Exactly.
I mean, but every selection item can have that much of a variance of price, of cost. So you were saying about all the different things that the customer wants in their house, laying out all of those things is so important, but being honest about them. We don't, we personally don't ask those questions. I know you don't ask those questions to be able to, price the house at that highest point. That's not the point. That's not the goal. The goal is to understand the whole picture, right? So that you can get them what they want at the end of the day. Because nobody wants to spend a bunch of time on a house designing it, looking at it, talking about it, and then be like, well, oops, I'm sorry, we're 2 times much, to build this house than what you can afford.
The inflation rate, because right now, concrete per yard is over $180 a yard.
Right.
5 years ago, it was $100 a yard.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we turn around, the concrete costs have gone up. Just in the time on the 7 Gables, the concrete cost went up $6,000 in the last 6 months. It's a lot
of concrete, but
it
yes.
is. Yeah, but you can't. You expect that in a budget, but that's why you have an itinerary. Then you also have a clause in there so that you have something to fall back on. You've got to have a contingency to say, I've got a $400,000 budget, but I've also got a $20,000 contingency figured in.
I love that you call it contingency, because I used to call it my oh shit line.
Yeah.
This is I automatically budget in that oh shit line.
Right. And I do that. Rasmussen's house right now that we're working on, he has no clue. He's looked at everything he thought. And I was like, so we got the lift coming in, the SkyTrack's going to be there. We'll have that going on for 4 months. He goes, oh, I don't think I put that in my budget. I'm like, it was on our line item in the beginning. So I try and do a budget line item with people in the beginning, even in my preliminaries, to say this much for the lift, this much for labor, this much for everything. But then you at least have a clause to fall back on so that you're not shocked when you get down to the end, because people, they want to know what the final budget is. And that's hard to do. So.
Well, they need to know, especially if they're doing financing. The bank obviously needs to know.
Yes.
You have to find these things out, and it's a give and take.
Right.
It's working back and forth until some things you have to have, and other things you have to compromise on. I also tell people to spend your money on the things you can't replace.
Right.
Spend the money on the structural things, things, and don't skimp there. If you need to put in shingles this year and 10 years from now, you can replace with a metal roof.
Right.
There's something like that, something you can, that's where if you got to cut back, that's where you cut back on things that can be replaced.
Well, and you guys have got it nailed, because my big thing is windows and doors. You got a Therma-Tru door, the best fiberglass door in the market. And you've got the backup to that, which is Pella windows and doors. Mm-hmm. The Pella window that you guys are using now is by far standard above grade. Mm-hmm. Low E-glass, insulated. The Pella window is, by my line, is the best window on the market right now. So you guys are doing a good product.
We are very happy with them.
Very
happy with the windows that they produce.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, Darrel, as I kind of summary, I guess, are there any final thoughts that you have that you want to?
The quality of the product is getting better every house. The logs, the tongue and groove, the smart match sidings. You're not going to buy that anywhere in any lumberyard. I mean, try to go to a Lowe's or hardware store at Home Depot and buy a 1x8 piece of oak, 16-foot long clear for trim. You're not going to find it. You'll find a 4-foot piece, but you will not find the quality. And you guys have got it there. I really appreciate the fact that you guys have got quality getting better, and a grading of how it goes together, making it easier for us as a builder to make the people's dreams come true. So we're very happy with it.
That's always been my goal, has been to be constantly improving.
Right.
And Lacey agrees with that, and she will continue after I'm long gone.
Yeah.
And making sure, we've really invested a lot in infrastructure, equipment, buildings, in order to do that. But we really did. We need input back and feedback from builders like you to help us keep getting better, because we're trying to find ways to make it easier and faster and more efficient to build houses. And so we take your feedback very seriously.
We
really appreciate that. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm in constant contact with Lacey. The nice thing about it is you have Chanda in the beginning, you have Lacey in the end. And to deal with Lacey on a daily project or a weekly project, I can text her. She'll get back with you that day or the next day, depending on how our schedule is. I understand that. But the feedback between us and you guys is what's crucial to make a job work. Mm-hmm. Communication is everything. Mm-hmm. If you don't have communication, you have a serious problem on your hands. Mm-hmm. And you guys have got that. So kudos to you.
Yeah, and we have implemented, or in the process of implementing, a new software that's going to allow even better communication, so that you can actually upload pictures from your job directly into our system, and it saves it for those systems, and it'll allow you access to a lot more information. So you'll be hearing more about that
Good.
soon.
Well, that's it. I take pictures daily and send it to my homeowners. So nobody lives at the job site, especially the homeowners. They have to work to be able to do it. But if you can send pictures daily, keep informed with the homeowner, and have your builder keep in touch with you, you've got it. It's a really good process. So I really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.